The nervous system does not distinguish between physical threat or perceived one. And this system exists for one reason and one reason only. It's to keep you alive.
Check, check one, check, check.
In the last episode, we established something extremely important. Your behavior is not random at all. It's state dependent. So today we're going to simplify this even further, because biologically, the human body only operates in two dominant modes: survival or regulation. Everything else in between is simply a variation of one of those two states. So let's start with the bad one, survival. I mean, it's not bad, but shouldn't be in it all the time. Survival mode is controlled by the sympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. And this system exists for one reason and one reason only. It's to keep you alive. And when it activates, the body prepares for action. The heart rate increases, breathing becomes shallow and fast, muscle tenses up, your blood sugar, that rises, and attention narrows. This is the state designed for emergencies. It's the fight or flight thing. And when there is an actual physical threat, it works beautifully, and that's what it's designed for. So the problem is that the nervous system does not distinguish between physical threat or perceived one. It has no idea how, one that you make up in your mind type thing, right? So it's an argument, a deadline, a news headline, a notification, bing, bing, those ones. An unresolved memory, something that you haven't come to peace with. So to the body, these all register as signals, and the signal triggers the chemistry. And in survival mode, the brain shifts control away from the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for logic, empathy, and long-term thinking. And it hands it over to older, faster regions like the amygdala. This is why people say things they regret when they're stressed. I mean, I've been there 1,000 times. It's why they interrupt, and it's why they catastrophize. When they're making a mountain out of a molehill type of deal. It's why they can't access perspective in the moment. And it's not that they don't have perspective, it's that the chemistry doesn't allow access to it. It just shuts it off. So survival mode isn't efficient, but it's expensive. I mean, the body borrows resources from the systems it considers non-essential in the moment: digestion, immune function, reproduction, and deep body repair. Again, this is not a flaw, it's a short-term loan. The issue is that many people are living in this state way too long. They're living in it long-term, daily. Now let's look at the second mode of regulation. Regulation is governed by the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. You've heard me speak of this before. This system activates when the body perceives safety. It's your home. It's your environment. It's safe. It's natural. It's a roast in the oven. That's safety. In regulation, heart rhythm becomes more organized. Well, of course it does. I mean, that makes sense, right? Breathing deepens naturally. It's one of those, your muscles soften. The brain regains access to higher reasoning. And this is the state where learning happens, where emotional processing happens, and where repair happens. It's also the state most people describe as feeling like themselves. I get goosebumps just talking about this. Very safe. Very healing. Calm doesn't feel dull here. It feels very clear. This is often called physiological coherence, not as a metaphor, but as a measurable pattern in the body. And what's important to understand here is this. You cannot be in full survival mode and full regulation at the same time. Left side, right side. They don't intermingle. They are mutually exclusive to each other. And the nervous system does not respond to logic. It responds to signals. This is why telling someone to relax almost always never works. Words don't override chemistry. Signals do. Heart rhythm, your breath pattern, muscle tension, and internal rhythm. These are the inputs the nervous system listens to. And here's where things get a little interesting. Most people don't live entirely in one mode or the other. They live in partial survival state, not panicked, not calm, just constantly activated. So this low-grade activation keeps cortisol elevated just enough to disrupt your sleep. And dopamine just unstable enough to create that restlessness. And your serotonin just suppressed enough to affect your mood. People feel wired but tired, busy but unfulfilled, and alert but foggy. And because this state becomes familiar, it feels quite normal until the body starts asking for help, asking for relief. Burnout, irritability, anxiety, and emotional numbness. These aren't failures, they're feedback. Listen to what your body's telling you. The body is signaling that survival mode has been running way too long. But here's the key takeaway. You don't transition out of survival mode just by effort itself. You transition by changing the signals the nervous system is receiving. So you got to change that. There's got to change the environment. That's why regulation techniques don't work when they're forced, and why rhythm, not intensity, is what restores balance. As we move forward in this series, we're going to explore exactly how modern life keeps people hovering in survival mode and how dopamine amplifies that activation, and how regulation can be restored in practical biological ways. And it's not by escaping your world, but learning how to move through your world without your chemistry being hijacked. Because once you understand those two modes, or these two modes, you'll actually stop fighting yourself. And that alone changes everything.